Good morning, everybody. I'm Keith Jones. I'm your six-figure real estate wholesaler. I'm coming to you from the metropolitan area of Atlanta, Georgia, which is my headquarters for our business. That's as a wholesaler or as a real estate entrepreneur. We've been in business since 1997, and of course, it's 2018. Actually, it's in September 2018 to be exact. It's September 21st, 2018. Forgive me, have to take a look at it. But anyway, just in case you may have stumbled across this and not familiar with our sequence of videos that we already have in rotation, if you will, subscribe to our YouTube channel and you can get the full you can have access to our full list of videos that we have in rotation on the basics and the fundamentals of becoming a six-figure real estate wholesaler. That's what we're doing right now. We're giving you the basics and the fundamentals of becoming a six-figure real estate wholesaler. Very important for you to understand. These are the basics and the fundamentals, which is what I've discovered most beginning wholesalers do not understand. So what we're going to do is break some of this down with a little over 20 years of experience. I think I'm pretty much as qualified as most people or gurus or teachers or mentors that are out there right now doing what we do, which is wholesale real estate. Now, let me introduce myself as Keith Jones, give you a brief background on me real quick, and we won't stay on that very long because I want to get into some content. My goal is to give you, add value to your real estate entrepreneurial career and helping you understand the basics and the fundamentals at this time. So we're structuring as many videos as it takes to help you understand and how to be successful at the business. So I started in 1997, buying them to hold them, rent them out in one of the suburbs of Atlanta, East Point to be exact. And after about a handful of buy and holds, I became not very happy with being a landlord, and just lo and behold, wholesaling actually fell into my lap. I've been blessed in so many ways. Wholesaling is one of them. I had a property under contract for $20,000. Another investor in that same area reached out, contacted me, and asked me if I was interested in selling that property. At the time, I didn't know. I knew nothing about wholesaling. Nothing. When he asked me if I was in, first he asked me how much I was getting it for, and being green, and new at the business of wholesaling, and again knew nothing about wholesaling. I went on and told him. I said, well, I'm getting it for $20,000, and I had it under contract with the seller. Let's start there. I had the owner. I had it under contract, and honestly, to this day, I can't remember how I found that owner. But fast forward into 2018, I'm going to help you understand how to find lots of owners. Okay, so I didn't know, can't remember how I found that owner, but I had that property under contract for $20,000. And let's back up. I may have found that owner in advertising his property for sale in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, which is our local newspaper. This is again 1990. This happened to be 1998 when I found that property. We started buying in the hold in 97. By 1998, that's when I stumbled into wholesaling. So he, an older gentleman, quite a bit older than I was at the time, and so his thing was to use the newspaper. That's probably how he found it, when he found it. Who knows? So he was ready to sell it. It was vacant. I put it under contract for 20 grand. Another investor, which is a guy I'm still friends with to this day, but he wanted the property and was willing to pay 25 grand. When he called me out of the blue, I didn't know him at the time. He called me, and what I did was he asked me to meet him at the house. He had an interest. I met him at the house. The uh, owner or slash seller of the property had given me a key because I given him a earnest money check for $500. And so he was confident enough to give me a key so I could come and go as I pleased, and I did. I met the new potential buyer at the property. He liked what he saw. It was a 3 bedroom, 1 bath, and at that time we did 2 contracts. We did a regular purchase and sales agreement, and we did what's called an assignment agreement. An assignment agreement is very important as a wholesaler, and that was the first time I had ever seen one. So he also given me a check for $500 earnest money. And after we filled out our paperwork, and his last words to me at that time were, "Keith, make sure your seller comes to closing." And of course he did. He came to closing. They cut him a check for 20 grand. They cut me a check for 5 grand, and I was hooked. And I immediately started finding that guy more properties. That the guy who bought that deal for me, I immediately started finding him more deals because I was hooked. I was still working a regular job at the time. I'd been on for like 17 years. Probably at that time, probably 15 years, because by the time I left that job, early 1999, I had about 17 years. So, with that being said, I very soon realized that if there's one guy out there looking for deals, there must be a lot more, and there was. So what I started doing was running dummy ads in the Atlanta Journal, AJC, and I would find the hot areas of metropolitan Atlanta. I would ride neighborhoods, and this is when I kind of started driving for dollars. I'm looking for activity. I'm looking for dumpsters that are backed up to houses and roofs being torn off, vacant and abandoned houses. Those are the signs of activity in neighborhoods where investors are turning them around, whether they're buying them to fix them up to hold them or they're fixing them to flip them. I had no training at the time and didn't know even that it was called wholesaling. I really didn't know. I just knew that I had found something that was giving me income. So that went well. I started building the buyers list. Back then, we only had fax machines and pagers, and people were, you find something you like, you stop. If there was a for sale by owner sign, you'd stop at the nearest payphone and make a phone call and see if that potential owner, or if that owner was available to talk to you. And of course, again, that was back in the day. Things have changed a lot, and so that, really went well. Back then, I could literally send out 50, maybe 100 postcards a month. Well, to say 50 to 100 postcards a week, and always keep 3, 4, 5 deals coming at me to evaluate, to blast out to my growing buyers list at the time and close deals. So it felt so good. In fact, my first full year, I left my job early 1999. Let me tell you about the deal that helped me to inspire me, if you will, to leave my full-time job. I got a property under contract through a realtor. I got this one. A realtor reached out to me. She was new in the business, and she reached out to me and said she had a property in it's called Grant Park. Grant Park is right now it's a high-end area of Atlanta, and if I'd have kept that, it was a 4-unit apartment building. Some people call them quads, depending on what region of the United States you're from. They're called quads, but it was a 4-unit apartment building. I think all units were 2 bedroom, 1 bath, and brick, so on. And so what I did at this time, I submitted the contract on the property, got it under contract, I should say, for $69,900, and with some advertising and doing what I do, I found a buyer for it to close on it 30 days later for $99,900. So that was my first big paycheck. I made $30,000, and from the first deal of $5,000 to the big deal of $30,000, I made quite a bit of money in between. And when I realized I had more money in my bank account than I was going to make in my full-time job for, I had more than a year of income in the bank, and I felt real confident that with that money in the bank, I could go full-time and crush it. first full year away from my job, I made 85 grand. My first full year. My second full year from that job, I doubled that, and the rest is history. So now we've already put out a handful of videos. The last one I think we put out in the sequence was how to find motivated sellers. How to find motivated sellers is really where everything should start. Again, if you haven't seen our first handful of videos, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can have access to the other videos that we have available. Now, I have videos. I'm in the field as I walk around and through houses, because it's very important to learn how to take pictures of houses so you can add them to. One of the things that I do, I take pictures, and I take the average on the low end on a small house. A 1,000 square foot home, I'm gonna have a minimum of 30 pictures. So that's starting outside and working my way in. And this is the subject we're gonna kind of touch on today, is how to get your properties prepared to share with your buyers list. How you're going to evaluate the property to make sure it's worth sharing with your buyers list. Your buyers, you've heard me say, if you've heard any of my other videos or watched any of my other videos, my spiel is the money is in the list. You want to have a good, strong buyers list and building it consistently. My buyers list grows weekly because I have, 1 or 2 properties a week that I'm adding to my sales. To promote to my buyers. And so the way I advertise and the way I get out there, we have buyers who may be familiar with us, and we have buyers who are not familiar with us. And the way we advertise, and we're trying to get everybody to go and take a look at that property as soon as possible. And the way you do that is to have good pictures and understanding what people are looking for when they're interested in your property. So what I found, let's finish up here. So what we're going to do now is we've talked last couple previous videos. One had to do with buyers, how to find motivated sellers. Then of course how to build your buyers list. And so subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can have access to our other video series. We're in the field. We're showing you houses in certain neighborhoods. We just want to build a relationship with you so you can understand what we understand. So now our video today is going to be on evaluating the properties. Now, the first thing, you've done some mailers. You have some sellers, some motivated sellers who are interested in letting you walk through their houses, so you can get an idea if you want to make this work, if you can make a deal out of this. So I try not to negotiate a price with a seller over the telephone. But what I will do is get them in a particular mindset to let them know that, subliminally, if you will, that their property might not be as valuable as they think it is. But you never want to just try not to set a price over the phone. Now, if they will offer you a price over the phone, great. But don't make an offer on the property until you walk through it. I don't care how much they say they've done to it, or how bad the property might be in condition. So, but don't make it. You'd be surprised that you might be able to get a much better price one way or the other. So, don't make offers over the phone until you've walked through this property. So now let's say you found cash buyers, and there's several of them, but you've made it. In fact, like today, I'm doing this video. It's not even 6:30 a.m. In fact, when I finish this video, I'm going to change clothes, go downstairs, exercise, and then I have a handful of properties to go look at today. So I got to get busy. So you're gonna go look at properties. You've made appointments, and you get into you're arriving at these appointments on time. And if you can, try to be 15. If you have a seller to say they're gonna meet you at noon, you try to be there a quarter till noon. So you can, if the property's vacant, you can walk around the outside of it, start making notes, ride the neighborhood, take a look at the neighborhood, see what to see what's going on, see if there's activity in this neighborhood. Check it out to see if you see dumpsters backed up to vacant houses and roofs being torn off, and uh, 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 pickup trucks and vans where the contractors are going in. Look for those things. That shows you there's activity in the neighborhood if you don't already know and understand the neighborhood and the zip codes. So now that you've arrived at this property 15 minutes before the seller, and most of the time they're going to beat you there because they're going to get there and make sure the doors are open, what have you. But at least try to get there 15 minutes early. And if you ride by the house and you see that seller is already there, but just take a quick ride up and down the street, the neighborhood, and then make sure you show up at the property on time. Make sure you get there at 5 minutes to 12 o'clock at the latest. Now that you've driven the neighborhood and you see what's going on, go ahead and head back to the property. You're trying to be there 5 minutes early, or 5 minutes to 12 or 12 o'clock at the latest. Introduce yourself. Take business cards. If you're a beginner, you may not have them. I had none at the time. You know what? Let's back up. I did have business cards when I first started. I did have business cards because I was already buying them to fix them up to hold them. So I had business cards. So I gave business cards out. So get you some business cards made. There's several ways to get business cards cheap. Now, you don't want a cheap card. If you can get them cheap to get started, you do what you have to do. But the paper on your business card tells a lot about you. You don't want a business card with paper, that thin. You really don't. You want a business card. I always have, my business card is linen. My business card is a linen business card, which is, and take advantage of your business card with advertising on the back and the front. This is the front of my business card. We buy houses, and in your business card, the biggest thing, as you see, the biggest thing on my business card tells people what I do. We buy houses. They don't care. If the largest print or text, if you will, on your business card states your name, you're not doing yourself any justice. They really don't care who you are. They care about what you can do for them. So the largest thing on your business card should be stating what you do. I buy houses. And of course, on after that, it states my name, my company name, my contact information, phone number, email address. Back then, you may have a fax number. So, I don't put fax numbers on. I haven't used a fax machine in probably 5-6 years, maybe even more than that. Take advantage of the back of your business card. In the back of your business card should state some other things about your business and your company. For example, mine says I have two sides on my business card. One side is for buyers and one side is for sellers. And for sellers, it states pre-foreclosure, divorce, vacant house, ugly house, pretty house, unexpected property inheritance. We buy houses. And then it gives another website or email address that you can go to if you just a seller and you want to submit potential information. On the buyer side, I'm looking for rehabbers, landlord, rent to own, and I'm telling someone who I give my card to, we're going to have the best deals possible for your investment goals. So get yourself some business cards. Now that we're at the house and I've given a firm handshake to the seller, male or female, you give, don't crush the hand, but give them a firm handshake, look them in the eye, introduce yourself, give them your business card. I like to start on the outside of a house when I'm evaluating a house. I like to start on the outside. What I'm going to do, I'm going to walk around the outside of the house. And I like to walk with that owner if it's possible. Some will, some won't. They've owned the house for a lot of years. They don't really care. They'll let you, most of the time, they just allow you to walk around outside of the house where they stand still on the inside, and somewhere you can go sit in their vehicles and watch you, depending on what the weather is going on, how the weather is and so on. But if they're walking with you, let them talk. Don't interrupt them. Never interrupt them and I'm a person I hate people that hate when people interrupt me while I'm talking. Let me finish what I say, because you want to be a good listener. And so let them, they may have sentimental values or sentimental attachment about the property. They may have grown up in it and talking about Christmas with mom and dad and his brothers and sisters. Listen, let them talk while you walk around the house. Start on the outside. Now, what you want to do while you walk, what you don't want to do while you're walking around the outside is, throughout the house at all, never point out any issues. Just make a note of it mentally, and writing it down and taking pictures. And we're gonna get into that in a minute. Because what I like to do is get my bearings for on a house before I just walk, start taking pictures. So I'm gonna walk around outside. I'm gonna look at the foundation. I'm gonna look up and down the sides of the house. I'm looking for cracks in the wall, the outside walls, whether it's brick or frame. Frame being meaning that it's, the outside is wood or vinyl or even hardy plank. The newer houses are more built with hardy plank nowadays. The older houses are frame, vinyl, and brick or brick. Some are a combination of all. But so I'm walking around the house. I'm not going to point out cracked windows. I'm going to notice it, but I'm not going to talk about that with the seller. So now that I've walked around, let's say I'm facing the house. I'm standing out in front, and I may go from the right to the left. So I'm going to look at the front of the house, and then I'm going to go walk around to the left side of the house, doing the same thing. I start at the bottom, work my way up. I'm looking at the foundation, and as I work my way up, looking at viewing the house. I'm looking at windows, see how I'm in my mind or writing down. If let's say the house is built in the 50s, I'm trying to see if these windows are the original windows. Have they been in since the 50s? So I'm looking at the gutters, seeing how if the gutters have been changed in the last 5 or 10 years, and just making notes of those things. I'm going around to the back of the house and taking a look at the back porch or whatever have you may be, and of course observing the landscape. Is it a slope off the back? Is it a reasonably decent sized backyard? Is there a garage, a carport? What kind of condition that might be in. Then I'm working my way around to the other side of the house, looking for all the same stuff. Just repeating what I did as I walk around the house. So as I walk around to the house, and that shouldn't take you any more than say, 10 minutes. You don't want to drag that out for 20, 30 minutes. Just not necessary, because you're going to take pictures also. So now that I've walked around the house, the outside, always start outside. Think about it. Anytime you're looking to sell a house, people are going to see the outside first. You need to see the outside first. Make note of that. Now we go inside. And this is when we want to start getting your bearings. If there's no light in the house, find out how you could light it up. You take your flashlight. And there's tools that you should take with you while you're out looking at properties. I like having a flashlight, a hammer. I like to have a crowbar and a power drill. Those things come in very handy while you're in the field. You're going to run into properties that are boarded up. You're going to need your power drill to back the screws out. Your flashlight. I have a couple flashlights, and the most powerful ones you can find, actually, because you're going to need. I've been in houses where it's just totally dark. You got to have a flashlight. Your camera is not going to be. It's not going to give you enough flash to get good pictures. So, but let's assume this one is because I'm there with the owner, and it's not boarded up. So all I gotta do is maybe open the front door and maybe pull the curtains back on at each window. Now, most of the time, these properties are not going to have power. It's been sitting vacant for a while. These owners are not trying to keep the lights and the lights on and the water on. So be prepared for that. So now I'm inside the house. I'm walking around. I'm getting my bearings. I'm walking through the living room, taking a look at it. I'm looking at the is there carpet? Is it hardwood floors? As I walk in, I'm looking at the walls to see if they've been, the walls have been bashed in where um, uh, uh, vandalism is taking place and the copper has been yanked out of the walls. I'm noticing all these things, and I'm still not talking or asking. I'm not expressing what I see to the seller at this point, or the owner. Now, as I walk around the house, I'm going to the living room, same thing, kitchen, bathrooms, all the bedrooms. Now, let me explain. Your kitchens and your bathrooms are where most of the money for a rehabber, fix and flipper, or buy and holder are going to go. Fix and flippers are going to put a little more into it than a buy and holder, because a fix and flipper is trying to get the highest value. So they're going to go in the kitchen, and it's going to be granite countertop. Well, today's thing is granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, new cabinets, um, different types of flooring. A lot of these guys are putting hardwood floors. When they do open floor plan, they're putting hardwood floors throughout the whole house, even throughout the kitchen. Personally, I'm not crazy about hardwood floors in kitchens, just because the kitchen is an area where a lot of water is dealt with. So, but that's my opinion. But they're doing it. Fixing flippers are doing that, and because it looks better with the flow through the house. So we're looking at the floor, getting an idea what's happening with the floors. Are the floors level? Are they big holes in the floor? You just write it down if you need to. As you become more experienced, you don't have to write these things down. Also, when you start taking pictures, you're gonna have pictures of this. But at this point, we're just getting our bearings around the house, seeing which way the floor plan flows from the living room into the kitchen and through the bedrooms and so on. So you're going to pay particular, and the reason I said the kitchens and the bathrooms are where you're going to put your most money, you're going to pay particular attention to the kitchens and the bathrooms to see if a bathroom can be added or widened. Can the shower, do you need to change the tub in the shower? Most of the time, you're definitely going to change the toilets and sinks. Some bathtubs, depending on what's going on, can just be what we call glazed. That's going to be all up to your end buyer, but you just want to get an idea what kind of condition the bathrooms and the kitchens are. The kitchen and the bathrooms are in. So, depending on the age of the house, it could be as many. It's going to be at least one bathroom, and as many as two, and sometimes more, depending on the size of the house. So now you walk through the inside of the house. You've seen, if the ceiling has holes in it, the walls have holes in it. You've seen all these things. You've noticed these things. And now it's time to talk with the owner a little bit, and just briefly, because what you're gonna at this time, you're just gonna say, hey, I've seen the house, I got my bearings. I just let them know I'm interested, but this is what I like to do. I want to stop and take some pictures. I like to take some pictures at this point. Okay, so I had to take a quick pause for the calls, but I'm back. Had one of my partners call in, and I think you guys want to sit in on that conversation. But so now that we're standing talking to the seller, and letting them know, I like to, and this is how I like to take some pictures. Is it all right? You ask the permission. Is it all right if I take some pictures of your house? I need to share these pictures with my contractors, my plumber, my electrician, my HVAC, and my carpenters. I like to share pictures with them as soon as I possibly can, so they can help me evaluate the costs. Now, most likely, these guys are gonna need to take a walkthrough, but in the meantime, they can give me a general idea. This is what you're telling that owner, that seller. They can give me a general idea what it's going to cost to um, redo the floors, update the electrical, all those things that go along with what's needed for this house. Most of the time, the owner of the property won't have a problem with that. So now let's say this owner says, yeah, please go ahead and take your pictures, and they're gonna, they'll probably be walking and talking to you while you take pictures. But this is your sequence of pictures. Like I said, a small house, I normally have a minimum of 30 pictures. Now, this is what I like to do. You do what works best for you. I keep a separate camera for picture taking. I don't like taking pictures with my phone. I just like to keep it separate, and this is not promoting any particular brand, but this is what I use when I'm taking pictures of a house. This is what I use. I keep mine separate from my phone. There's a lot of people who, because they prefer just to use their phone. That's fine too. I just like keeping mine separate. I keep my camera separate, and of course I could use my phone to take pictures. I just like keeping it separate. It's easier for the download part, because if I take pictures with my phone, then I have to have my wife handles that end of the business. I would like to be able to keep my phone handy while I do other things, and I can just leave her the camera on the day that I'm not taking pictures, and she gets the pictures downloaded and ready to blast out to our buyers list. So I like keeping mine separate. Now, what I like to start on the outside again, start your pictures from the outside. Start your pictures from the outside. Man, this is why I'm doing this, the basics and the fundamentals. I get people who send me properties and they'll have 4 pictures. One picture of the front of the house, one picture of the kitchen, and one or maybe 2 pictures of the kitchen and one picture of a bathroom. And I'm like, come on, people, do you really expect potential buyers on your list to get up and go run across town and they see 3, 4 pictures of a house? They might, it's possible, but the more you can share with them, especially again, this is all about adding value. I'm expressing to you how to wholesale, how to become a 6-figure wholesale real estate wholesaler by adding value. I'm adding value by sharing as much information as I can, so you can do what you need to do. So you want to share as much information as possible with your potential buyer. That's why I say I have a minimum of 30 pictures. So now I'm starting outside. I'm going to take a picture of the whatever numerals, the digits that says this house is 123 Apple Street, and 123 is on the mailbox. I'm going to take my first picture is going to be of 123 on that mailbox, or 123 that's on the front of the house, wherever that address is. And the reason I do that is for organization later, when it comes to taking pictures, and we'll get to that shortly here, the organization of it. But now that I've taken a picture of that mailbox or wherever that those numbers are, that states this is 123 Apple Street, then I go on inside. Then I start taking pictures outside. Let's back it. I'm going to stand back far enough, but close enough to get a good shot of the whole front of the house. Then I'm going to walk around to, say, the right side of the house, and I'm going to take as many pictures as needed, probably 2 at the most, to get, depending on the size of the house, to get a full shot of the right side of the house. I'm going to get that front shot. That first half of the right side of the house, and then I'm going to walk to the back side of the right side of the house and kind of facing towards the front of the house, but I'll be at the back side. Take another side picture of the other side of the right side of the house. So I probably have maybe 2 pictures. You want to get some foundation in that picture. You want to get some, if you can stand back a little further, get a little bit of the roof. Not the roof, but the side of the house at the top, and seeing how the gutters look. So both your pictures to the side should reflect some foundation, and of course the walls, and some, seeing at the windows. Then you're going to step around to the back side of the house and do the same thing. You want some you want it, and especially if you can see that there are some outstanding issues with the foundation or the side of the house. Make sure those are in your pictures. So now you've done that on the back side. You've taken some reasonably good pictures. You should probably have at least 2 pictures of the back side of the house. Now you're going to step around to the left side of the house and repeat same thing. You've got, now to say on the minimum, you should have probably 8 pictures on the outside of that house. Now you go into the front door. I like taking a picture. As soon as I walk in the front door, I'm taking a picture of the wall that I'm facing as I walk into the front door of through the front door of that house. Hopefully your lighting, you've already arranged your lighting. If you happen to walk around with a flashlight, then you just have one hand on the flashlight, one hand on your camera. Don't expect the seller or the owner to hold the flashlight for you. So, but again, we're talking about a property. We start with the scenario that we just open up the curtains and the front door is wide open, and we got enough sunlight to take pictures. Now, speaking of sunlight, I try not to do any. I'm not going to go take pictures of any house at night. Just don't make an appointment. Even if the seller says, "Hey, can you come see it tonight?" Try to oblige them as much as you can. I'm not just saying totally no, but help them to understand that, Mr. Seller, for me to get my best view. And as I walk through this house, I need to have some daylight going on and so on. So can we do it in the morning? But if he insists, do what you got to do. You know, you never know why this guy needs you to see it now, and just be prepared with your flashlights. But I don't go see properties at night. I just don't. I'm just in the daytime. So now that I'm walking through the property and I'm taking pictures, I've got now when I walk through a house, when I'm getting sick, I'm in the living room. I'm going to have a minimum of 4 pictures of that living room. Minimum. I'm going to have a picture of it's 4 walls. I'm going to have a good shot of each wall in that living room. Trying to have some of the outstanding conditions of the house. That say there's a fireplace. I want a good shot of the fireplace. I want to make sure that I get some of the windows in each picture. I want to make sure I get some of the floor in each picture. So that helps me to remember whether there's carpet or hardwood and conditions. The ceiling, I want to get some. I'm not saying I'm going to stand still and point my camera straight up and get seen. Now, unless there's a hole in the ceiling or something, yeah, I will point my camera straight up to get that hole in the wall, in the ceiling, in the picture. But more so, I'm going to make sure some of that's visible in each picture. So I may end up with, 6, 8, 10 pictures of the living room. It don't matter. Believe me, you're not going to hurt your buyer's feelings. In fact, the more information you share with them, as far as getting them to, allowing them to do as much evaluation of the property from their desk, the more successful you will be. Your phone will start ringing from your buyers list a lot faster when they can see most of the details. Now, don't mistake in that your buyer is going to just there will be some, but most of them will want to take a walk through themselves. So of course, you're not gonna blast this out to your buyers list until you have it under contract with your seller anyway. Now, you've taken pictures of let's talk about the bedrooms. Again, bedrooms, living rooms are really just 4 walls, a floor, and a ceiling. You want to get some of that in all the pictures. Let's talk about your kitchen and your bathrooms. Kitchens and bathrooms are where most of the money is going to go for any investor, whether they're buy and hold, fix and flippers. So your kitchen, you want to have good pictures of where the stove is or where it might used to be. When I walk into a kitchen, I'm going to start taking pictures as soon as I'm going to get, like I said, I walk through the doorway of a kitchen, I'm going to take a picture of the wall that I'm facing. Then I may turn to my left and get a picture of that left wall. And I turn to the right and keep, maybe stand in the middle of the kitchen and take and do a 360, slowly taking pictures of everything that you can see. Cabinets, sinks. Go up, open the cabinet doors and take a picture up under the sink. Take a picture where the refrigerator is or used to be. Make sure you get a picture where the stove is or used to be. The dishwasher is or used to be. So you should walk away with in a kitchen, no matter what size it is. Your minimum should be 6 pictures of a kitchen. Minimum. Sinks and cabinets and countertops and you don't have to just stand back and make it. It's not like you got to go stand right up on the sink and take a picture of the sink. But they just want to see what the sink may sit and so on. Some kitchens I've taken pictures of. I've put properties under contract where there was no kitchen, no say cabinets and sinks. But there's always a kitchen. But then all the other stuff might have been ripped out. So take pictures of where the stuff used to be. If you understand, you can see the pipes coming up from the wall where the sink used to maybe be placed, and where the stove would have been sitting because of the whether it's electrical or gas. You can see what the stove fixtures would be attached to. So take pictures, good pictures. Your bathrooms, same thing. You want to take good pictures of those you want to see where the tub and toilet is or used to be. Some of these houses are going to be a little bit on the crappy side, depending. I've taken pictures of toilets that are full of stuff that you wouldn't want to smell or touch or see. But you don't have to get right up on it. But show where the toilet is or was. Sinks, same thing. Bathtub, same thing. I'll take a picture of the fixtures in a bathtub. I like to let people know that the knobs are there, or there's a shower head over the top. If there's a separate standalone shower, get a picture of the floor of the shower to show the drain. Then get a picture of the fixtures to show that they were there or they are there, as far as the knobs to turn the water off and on in the shower. And then of course go all the way up and get a picture of the overhead shower, the shower head. Now that you got your pictures from the inside of the house, you should have a minimum of 30 pictures. When you got these pictures, now it's time to stand and talk with your seller. You're gonna let that seller know, or that owner know, that you're interested in the property. You want to run the numbers. Now you're still not gonna make an offer, but what you will do is entertain what they say they want for the property. This is when you, Mr. Seller, do you have an idea what you want for the property? Most of the time, they're not going to tell you. Now, you will run across some who will, but most of the time, they're not. So what you have to do is run your numbers. Even if they tell you what they want at that time, unless it's just, it's a smoking thing, then you go ahead and do what you got to do. But you do want to be prepared to get that property under contract as soon as possible. Believe it or not, because of the market nowadays, you're not going to be the only person he's showing that property to. So you do want to be prepared to move as fast as possible. You got your pictures, and now it's time to crunch your numbers to evaluate. So now, what I did early in my career was I got to know contractors, because I was, of course, buying wholesale. I knew painters, I knew plumbers. Get to know painters and plumbers, electricians and carpenters and roofers. Get to know them. Google them. Technology is making this thing so much easier now. Google them and get an idea what it costs to paint a 1,500 square foot house, inside and out. And of course, when you get to know them, hang out with them, find something in that same neighborhood. You might, like I said, if you wrote that neighborhood earlier and you saw activity going on, you might have seen a plumber going in and out of a house, an electrician going in and out of a house. You may have seen a carpenter doing what they do, a roofer doing it. Get to know them. Give them your business cards. Ask for their business cards. And that's how you start getting the pricing, because hopefully this video is being seen all over the country. So from Seattle to Florida, the pricing is going to be different for labor and materials. From New York to California, pricing is going to be different in labor and materials. So you have to find out what your labor costs are going to be in that area. And you don't need to be spot on point, because believe me, your potential buyer is someone who probably does that, buying lots of properties. They have a crew that's giving them a good price because they're keeping them busy consistently. But you need a ballpark figure on what it's going to cost to put this house in. If it's a fix and flip, you need to have a ballpark idea what it's going to cost to put it in fix and flip condition. Or if it's a buy and holder investor, you need to have a ballpark idea what it's going to cost them to put this property in rentable condition. So you're going to contact contractors, and like I said, you're going to need to speak with a plumber, an electrician, a painter, and a carpenter. And lots of times your painter and your carpenter can be the same contractor. Do's and don'ts dealing with contractors. I never deal with any contractor, or anymore, I learned the hard way, who said I can do it all. Those are usually the ones who are going to give you the cheapest price so they can get into the deal. And of course, this don't really matter to you right now as a wholesaler, but this is something you should know. They're going to give you the cheapest price, get into start working on the house, and then tell you, oh, that's not enough money. I've discovered that they need more, and then you got a headache. Another reason why I focus mainly on wholesaling right now is because I got tired of dealing with contractors. There's some good ones out there. Don't get me wrong. There are some good contractors out there, but I prefer at this point wholesaling, because we're taking our income from wholesaling and putting it into commercial real estate. We like self-storage facilities. I digress. Now that you've met, and when you meet these professionals, these carpenters and plumbers, electricians and HVAC guys, try to get to know 3 of each and get 3 prices of each. Now, again, you're a beginner, so this is about building relationships. You're looking to build relationships with these plumbers, electricians, carpenters, because eventually you probably will if you're doing this right. You, like I did, I went in from wholesaling. I was able to go into fix and flipping because I had the income coming in to handle that. And then from fixing and flipping, I went into new construction. So you want to start building relationships with these guys so they can feel like eventually, if not now or sooner or later, you first of all, that you're going to price them, that eventually they'll get some work from you. Now, don't always. If I was you, I'd get three estimates from each. Get three estimates of each, I should say. I'd have three estimates from a HVAC guy, three estimates from a roofer, three different roofers, three different plumbers, three different electricians. The cheapest is not always the best. Usually, that's the one that's going to be the guy who's going to come back and say, "That's not enough money. I need more money to complete the job." The highest, of course, is going to be the highest. If I was you, I'd go with the guy in the middle. But you do want to take a good look. You want to see some of their work if you can. A lot of these guys now, they'll carry in their phone. They have pictures of work they've done, which really don't mean they've done the work. But in as many ways as you can, get an idea of their skills and as far as their pricing, especially after you're particularly ready to choose one of the three. Now that you have an idea of, you just want to get the labor costs from these guys. Now, what I like to do is, this helped me on my learning curve. I would have them give me a price, two prices. Give me a price of labor and material, and then give me a price of just labor. Now, when this helps you with your learning curve, because if they give you a price of labor and material, they're going to make a list of the material that's needed to complete the job. When they send you over those estimates, they're going to say, I need X amount of square foot of wires to, for your electrical. So it's going to cost X amount of dollars. So you know how much and what type of wiring that they need. If it's your plumber is going to say, this is now let's back up. Plumbers and electricians usually don't really like to share their material costs, but there's some that will. But your roofers and your carpenters and your roofers and your carpenters and your carpet layers and your people who are going to put the floors in, they don't mind doing that. So they'll give you two costs and help you and give you this give you a not only with the estimate of the labor, they'll give you a list of the material that's needed, and you can easily take that list and go to Home Depot, or depending on where you live, Lowe's, Home Depot, or here in we have a place called Floor and Decor. I'll take that list to places like that and get an idea what it's going to cost me for X amount of square foot of carpet, or hardwood for the floors and all the material. When you go to those places, you tell them, I'm looking to lay 2,000 square feet of hardwood floors. Can you price out how much it's going to cost? And they know if you're going to lay hardwood floors, they know automatically how much stuff you're going to need. The underlay of the hardwood floors. If they're going to be nailed down, they know how much nails you need because of the square footage. You got to give them the square footage. And if you ask your hardwood floor guy, for example, to give you a price of labor and material, he's going to tell you how many square feet of work he's got to do in material. So that's easy to take to a Floor and Decor or a Lowe's or Home Depot. You tell them, I got 2,000 square feet that I need to cover with carpet or hardwood or laminate. How much is going to cost for everything I need to complete that job? It's that simple. And you do that when your roofer tells you it's going to cost X amount of dollars in labor, and you're going to need X amount of squares for your roof. You go to a roofing supply company and say, I need 50 squares of roofing material, and with the felt and all the things that I need to put that roof up, I need to know what it's going to cost. Now you start to get an idea of what it's going to, and the earlier you start doing this, the sooner it'll be that you just be able to walk through a house and say, wow, you look around, taking your pictures, it's going to cost me 20 grand. It's going to cost my end buyer potentially about 20 grand to make this house. If he's a fix and flipper or buy and holder, that's not never irrelevant. But at this time, we just giving you the basics and the fundamentals of what you should do, and how to do it. So you've got that. You've crunched some numbers as fast as you can. And now, hopefully, within 24 hours, you can get back to that owner and let them know your interest in your offer. You're going to also do some quick research. And if I was you, that would my first research that I would do once I got back home into the computer would be finding out what properties and that price and what fixer-uppers are selling for in that area, and what the properties are selling for after they've been fixed up to sell. Now, that's as easy as going to Zillow. Trulia. Zillow is a little bit better if you have access to a realtor you've developed a relationship with. And if you're new in the business, you may or may not be, but there are realtors who are coming over and learning the wholesale. So I met a realtor as a beginning realtor yesterday at a meeting, investor association meeting, which is also I highly recommend you guys join, because at those investor association meetings, you're going to run into carpenters, plumbers, electricians, and roofers who will be interested in working with you if you can keep stuff flowing as far as work is concerned. But this guy was a new realtor and new to wholesaling. He wanted to learn more about wholesaling. In fact, he'd probably be, I'm probably going to be adding him to our. He should be reaching out to me to be a part of our video series for our free tutorials, if you will, on the basics and the fundamentals of being a six-figure wholesale real estate investor. So now that you have done some research on Zillow and you find that the fixer-uppers in that area are selling for 60 grand, and the properties that have already been rehabbed are selling for 160 grand, and you need to know, you must understand that your fix and flip buyers, here's the numbers, they do not want to be, they will, most of the time, they're not going to be interested in the property for more than the max is 70% of the after rehab value. 70% of the after rehab value. So you do your math. If the fixer uppers are selling at 160,000, and now you need to figure out what it will take to be no more in that property than 65% or 70% of that value. Do your math. We don't have time to sit there and go through calculations with you right now, but 70% is the max. You need to make your offer with in mind your fee, let's say $10,000, and your potential buyers rehab, acquisition costs. Acquisition means purchase, and rehab costs. So when you do those, you work those numbers backwards out of your 160, and just say that number happens to be 70,000. Just say this happened to be 70,000. Now, that is your max. That's the max that your buyer will want to be in. So you need to start your offer at lower than the max. So you need to be able to get that property probably under contract from your seller. If you can get it under contract, you want to get it under when you get it under contract, you need to be in there from him. If you've looked at the condition of the house and so on, you're trying to get it under contract at say 35,000, and once you figured out that it need 25,000 in work and you want to make 10 grand, you got to do the math. And again, these are things that I'm giving you the basics and the fundamentals, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on just running the numbers. But I'm gonna tell you, we are putting together a full course that I actually have. We put together a full course on all of this, but right now we're just giving you, like, this video is actually about an hour, and I'm about to end it shortly because it's time for me to get my workout in. But from here, you are going to be prepared to make your offer and get that property under contract for say 30%. You want to be getting this property under contract for 35% of that ARV. 40% max, because again, you got to remember, your buyer is only going to be interested in it to up to 70% of that ARV. Now, if it's a buy and holder, they will spend a little bit more. It's all have to do with the region that you're in, and that's why I don't want to get too detailed with numbers. Because if you're in California, it's one thing. If you're in New York or DC, it's something else. If you're in Seattle, on and on and on. So that's why I try not to tell someone some exact numbers. What you want to do is make contact with other investors in your area to learn those skills or those numbers in a more concise manner. Attend your local real estate investor meetings. Do that at least once a week. Go to one and get to know contractors and plumbers and electricians. Talk to them about what they charge to do this, that, and the other, so you can work your numbers and being able to make the offer to your. Now, if you're in California, you're probably not going to buy you're going to buy very little for 35% of the after rehab value. But again, so we're not. That's why I'm not, or DC or New York. Metro Atlanta happens to be one of those areas where it can still happen. That's why it's hot here. I mean, they call it Hot Atlanta for a reason, for more than one reason, I should say. But you want to be able to get that property under contract for 30 to 40% of the after rehab value, knowing that your buyer wants to be in it no more than 70% of the after rehab value, and that needs to include your fee, your $5,000 to $10,000. So now it's time to make an offer. You've done some research. You found out the ARVs. You found out what the fixer uppers are selling for, and you get your offer in. That offer needs to be in writing. Don't call up your. Well, you can discuss it with them, because at this point you may even ask them again, Mr. Seller, I've got an idea what I want for the property. I know, and don't remind them that they didn't tell you what they wanted, but ask them again. After looking at what your property needs, I kind of have an idea of what I can offer. Ask them again. Do you have an idea of what you want? And let's back up a little bit. While you at that property, be personable. Build a relationship. Don't just go out there and talk business. While you're walking around that house with your seller, build a potential business relationship. Ask him how he's feeling today. Greet him friendly. Ask him about his family a little bit. Try to strike up a relationship. Relationships will get you the property faster than anything else. Now, when you build the right relationship with a owner, he may, if he gets to like you or she gets to like you better than they like someone else, it's a strong potential that even if someone else offered a little bit higher, they'll probably want to deal with you. So build relationships. Relationships is a very important part of what we do. So build relationships. I ain't saying you got to take them out for coffee, but when you sit down and do the paperwork, the contract, and always when you're dealing with a seller, you want to call it the paperwork. Never call it a contract, or don't even call it a purchase and sales agreement. Mr. Seller, can we meet at the coffee shop, the local coffee shop, and I'd like to buy you a cup of coffee while we fill out the paperwork. Now, of course, that's that's when you're going to send them. Now, if they're older, they may not have access or understand that you can email them a contract. I like the old fashioned way, when you sit down face to face, because you're still building this relationship, and but in that case, in this case, we're going to say that you're going to meet them at the coffee shop, and you're going to discuss with them the offer that you want to put in writing. Everything goes well, you're going to put that offer in writing. You have it under contract. You got your numbers, everything making sense. And you have your pictures. Then it's time to start. Now, I'm not going to go over. I don't have the time to sit here and go over line by line what a particular purchase and sales agreement should say when it comes to real estate, because all areas are different. But what you can do is Google real estate purchase and sales agreement for your area, and you'll get a generic one that you can print out and maybe even sit down with your with an attorney and make sure it covers you as as a buyer, and as a wholesaler. You do want to have some verbiage in there somewhere that states that and or assigns, you buying this property and or assign, which allows you to assign your contract to your buyer. Now, if you're dealing with realtors, that's not going to work. If you find, but what you can do is what we call a double close. We get into that a little bit later. I'm about to end this video, but this video, we walked through a house to evaluate it, to get it to the point where we're sitting down with a seller to write up our to sign off on our paperwork, which is of course our purchase and sales agreement. Once we get this property locked down, and we always want to get a minimum of 30 days. You want to have this property under contract for a minimum 30 business days, just because this might be one of those months where there's always going to be weekends, but so we want to exclude those, but we always want to keep in mind the potential holidays that might be in that month. So 30 business days to close. 30 business days to close. So as soon as you get that property under contract for 30 business days to close, immediately you're going to be blasting out those pictures to your buyers list and your emails that you've collected in your buyers. So that's when it's time to really get busy. And of course, you want to try to set it up so you can have access to that property whenever it's needed. Now, if you've already planted in your seller's mind that you're going to need to get back in there with your electrician, your carpenter, your HVAC guy, that's what you want to do, because when you come back, just say that's a seller who says, well, I'll do that, but I want to be here, which is fine. So now when you have to show up with a buyer, and if you've done this right and your buyer's list is big enough, there's only going to be 2, 3, maybe 4 people interested in it, and it may be more. But when you show up, you're going to introduce, if you have to introduce the person you're with, you will introduce them as one of your contractors to your seller. Now, and most of these guys who are in the business with us, who are buyers, they understand that, and they don't have mind saying I'm being introduced as one of your contractors. You don't have to be specific and say this is my electrician or my plumber, but you do want to say this is one of my contractors. Joe's going to take a walk around and give me an idea in some specifics. And now you're also going to, when you do this paperwork, you're going to also ask for, say, 5 to 10 days due diligence. That gives you time not to have to put up any earnest money, and your earnest money can be anywhere from $10 to $500. Try to stay in that range, depending on the buyer. I mean, if these guys are if this seller is a little bit savvy, they're not going to allow a $10 earnest money deposit. They're going to want anywhere up to 1%. So I try to stay between. I mentioned in one of my other videos, I do have a student who locks them down with $10, and I have students who have to lock them down with quite a bit more, because of it's a good deal and it makes sense. So now you got it locked down, and but if you do your paperwork right, your contract, your purchase and sales agreement right, you're going to have at least 5 business days before you have to deposit your earnest money. Once your earnest money is deposited and everything is on point, it's time to, now it's time to get those contractors, if you will, your potential buyers in and out of that house to get their offers in. So I'm going to leave it here. I'm Keith Jones. If you like what you heard in this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and so you can receive more of these videos of the basics and the fundamentals of a 6-figure real estate wholesaler. I'm about to get my workout in. It's a little bit after 7 a.m. here. I'm getting my workout in so I can get in the field. I may record a video for you all while I'm out there today. So that is what my intent is. I'm going to record a video. I got several houses to look at and just talk about the houses that I see. Every deal is different. Have a great day. Thanks.